Well, today, we're looking at a story that pulls off that exact same magic trick. It kicks off with the deeply ingrained, roaring Indian perspective of cricket's men in blue, and it literally collides headfirst with the simmering French anticipation for Les Bleus during the 2018 World Cup. We're diving into this beautifully sensory journey of an Indian expat named Aarohi. She experiences the absolute ultimate emotional whiplash, followed by a deeply personal surprise birthday. So let's see exactly how this magic happened.
Let's just dive right into this fascinating cultural bridge, okay? On one side, we have the absolute religious fervor of Indian cricket. Think back to India's 2011 victory in places like Meerut. The streets, they completely empty out during the match. But then, they absolutely explode with the thundering sound of doles and people joyfully sharing mithai, right? That's the men in blue. Now completely shift that perspective. Aarohi arrives in France and suddenly football is king. It's this quiet, simmering anticipation of Les Bleus, the blues. The streets are eerily calm, literally no traffic jams, just this massive sea of dark navy shirts with golden roosters. It's a totally different game, but you know what? It carries the exact same heartbeat of national pride.
Now, the pacing of this particular night escalates in an absolute flash. It starts off as a totally quiet evening. It's 7 p.m., they're in a little hotel studio. Aarohi's partner, Prakar, turns on the TV, kind of almost out of habit. But then, in the 18th minute, Mbappe scores. And guys, the entire building literally shakes. Doors are flying open. People are screaming through the thin walls. Fast forward to the final whistle. France secures a 4-2 victory over Croatia, and Aarohi just begs to go outside. The second they step off the metro at Concorde, well, they aren't just in Paris anymore. They step into a literal human tsunami.
I really want you to imagine the sheer sensory overload here. That contrast we talked about, those familiar Indian doles, completely wiped away, replaced by the absolutely deafening, continuous blast of French vuvuzelas. We're talking over 90,000 fans flooding the Champs Élysées. That's enough people to fill a massive stadium, all crammed into the streets. No cars anywhere, just thick blue smoke floating in the air, giant screens rolling these thunderous replays of Mbappe and Pogba's goals, and right at the end of it all, the Arc de Triomphe is glowing like the literal heartbeat of France. It is totally awe-inspiring. But, as with any great illusion, the atmosphere is about to turn.
And this is where the pacing of the night completely changes. They're just walking through this massive surging crowd when, across the road, a packed bus stop with almost 50 people jumping on top of it suddenly collapses. A sharp, terrifying crack breaks through the noise as the metal bends under their weight. People are screaming, stumbling. And then, before Aarohi and Prakar can even process what's happening, a glass bottle flies right over their heads. It hits the ground just inches from Prakar's feet and literally explodes into razor-sharp pieces.
Visceral fear just instantly takes over. Prakar immediately covers Aarohi with his arms. And then, riot police with shields and batons charge in from the Arc de Triomphe, yelling back. The crowd completely panics. This huge wave of bodies pushes backward, nearly tearing them apart. Prakar grabs her wrist and just pulls her away from the chaos, sprinting down a tiny side street near a Louis Vuitton store. Her lungs are absolutely burning. He looks at her, dead serious, and says, "Too risky. No chance. I will not let you go further."
But here is where the emotional whiplash really hits, and it is honestly beautiful. They retreat deeper into this small side street, trying to get away from the terrifying mob. The fear is still so thick in Aarohi's chest. But then, out of nowhere, they stumble upon a completely different kind of celebration. 3 French girls wearing blue jerseys with glitter painted all over their faces see her standing there, breathing hard. And instead of ignoring her, they shout, "Viens danser! Come dance!" They grab her hands and just pull her straight into this wild, joyous circle. This exact moment is the crucial pivot. Aarohi goes from absolute heart-pounding terror to pure, unbridled joy. She lets go of Prakar's hand. She's jumping, her Hindi squeals are mixing right in with their French cheers of victoire, and when the song ends, they pull her into this massive group hug. One of the girls points to her, asks, "India?" and just gives her a simple thumbs up. That single, simple gesture on a Parisian street completely rewires her. She finds a global tribe right then and there. Her wings, they start to grow. Section 2. A Taste of Home. A surprise Parisian birthday detour. All right, let's shift gears here from the massive, chaotic scale of the World Cup to something highly intimate, a surprise birthday evening a few weeks later. So we're dropping the pace entirely now, stepping right into a beautiful surprise. The deafening noise of 90,000 people, completely gone. Instead, Aarohi steps out of her hotel in a modern dress, fully expecting a long walk or, a crowded metro ride. But no, an immaculate black Uber sedan pulls up. A driver in a crisp uniform opens the door and simply says, "Bonjour, madame." It's actually her first car ride in the city. She's whisked away, cruising past the sparkling Eiffel Tower in absolute quiet luxury, basically feeling like a movie star in her own life. And then, after weeks of eating French food, she is suddenly hit with the warm, masala-scented air of home. Prakar takes her to a restaurant called Le Khajuraho. And guys, she eats the most expensive, yet arguably the most comforting, crisp pani puri of her entire life, right in the middle of Europe. We're talking pani puri bursting with tamarind water and spicy chickpeas. There's perfectly spiced vegetarian thali, flavorful dal tadka, buttery soft naan, and to top the whole thing off, a French server enthusiastically trying to speak Hindi to them. It is just this perfect, magical fusion of her roots and her brand new world. But hey, as we all know, no great story goes perfectly according to plan, right? To add a little relatable humor to this magical night, we hit an unexpected hitch. The dinner bill arrives. Prakar confidently hands over his credit card, and it declines. Yep, his expression just freezes. He doesn't have the cash on him, so he has to do this panicked, full-on sprint into the Parisian night to track down a local ATM. While Aarohi is left sitting there, absolutely terrified the evening is ruined. But don't worry, crisis averted. He returns with a massive smile, cash in hand, and they step back out into the gorgeous city.
Walking hand in hand along the Seine, they stop on the beautifully lit Pont Alexander III Bridge. Honestly, it looks straight out of an old Bollywood dream. Prakar stops her, pulls out a small velvet box, and gives her this delicate silver Mickey Mouse necklace, and he tells her, "Wings, Aarohi, wear them proud." I mean, wow, that captures the entire theme of this explainer in one touching sentence, doesn't it? It's this beautiful acknowledgement of the true transformation she's just undergone.
Before heading home, and she insists on taking the metro this time, joking they've had way enough luxury for one day, they grab these incredibly vibrant pastries from Pierre Hermé. Picture this, pink Ispahan domes just bursting with rose and lychee, deep, dark chocolate cakes, and bright macarons filled with pistachio and raspberry. It perfectly caps off an evening that mixed the familiar, comforting spice of India with the absolute colorful sweetness of Paris.
So look at the contrast here. She completely transformed from a girl who walked into a roaring, terrifying, yet joyful World Cup crowd to a soul who tasted the luxury of Paris and still felt completely at home within her own skin. She realized that her wings had grown somewhere in the space between the explosive noise of a football victory and the quiet, intimate romance of a bridge over the Seine.
So I want to leave you with this question. When was the last time you let the noise of the world help you find your own heartbeat? The truth here is that stepping directly into the chaos of the unknown is often exactly what we need to discover who we truly are. But here's the real reveal. The vivid emotions, the crushing fear, the explosive joy, and the quiet romance we covered today, that is just one small glimpse into Aarohi's full journey. If you want to experience the complete magic, if you really want to see how the rest of this incredible illusion of growing up is performed, you absolutely need to experience the full story for yourself. I highly recommend picking up the book where this beautiful chapter, A World Cup of Growing Up, comes from. Let the full story perform its magic on you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep exploring.